You're watching Barry's TV. Here the headline: the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel presented on Monday its activity report to the UN Security Council. In this edition, we will take a look back on last year. In Mali, an ECOWAS delegation led by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan is in Bamako ahead of an upcoming summit, and COVID-19 is still virulent in southern Africa. Thousands of Zimbabweans have fled to South Africa after the announcement of the lockdown in their country. As a result, the Rainbow Nation closed its borders. As I told before, in Mali, discussions between the Malian political class and the ECOWAS mission are pursuing before the next summit scheduled for January 23rd in Abuja. The ECOWAS mediator is optimistic about this discussion. Listen to him.
Je suis désormais partie intégrante du Mali. Donc je peux venir au Mali saluer mes amis du Mali.
Basically, you know what happened that led to ECOWAS intervening are all human problems.
Comme vous le savez, ce qui est arrivé et qui a nécessité l'intervention de la CEDEAO fait partie des problèmes humains.
And when you have some human differences,
c'est normal qu'il y ait des différences ou des malentendus entre humains.
You will continue the conversation with the people, and we will continue that conversation until elections are conducted.
Donc à cet effet, nous allons poursuivre les échanges, les discussions avec les différentes parties prenantes jusqu'à l'organisation des élections.
The goals of these meetings are to evaluate the progress of the transition and to see how the presidential and legislative elections of next year are being prepared. The Malian political class is divided on the transition, particularly the M5, which expresses doubts about it and claims that it is in the hands of the military. Mohamed Ibn Chambas, head of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, took a stock on the situation in the region in 2020. He drew up a contrasting assessment. Explanation this subject by Ashley Duprat.
COVID-19 obliged the presentation of the activity report of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel had to be held on January 11th via video conference. If at first Mohamed Ibn Chambas, the head of the UN antenna in the region, congratulated ECOWAS member government for the management of the pandemic, his optimism was however dulled when it came to the security issue, starting with Niger.
After the end of the rainy season, militants have again staged audacious and deadly attacks, notably in Niger, where more than 100 people died in just one assault 9 days ago.
A deterioration in the security climate, the consequences of which are felt at the humanitarian level. Approximately 5 million people have had to flee conflict zone in West Africa and the Sahel, 1.9 million more than 2019. Despite this pessimistic climate, the Ghanaian diplomat nevertheless redressed this mixed picture, referring to the 10 elections observed in the region, not without any difficulties and not without commending the effort made in countries such as Mauritania and Guinea-Bissau.
In neighboring Guinea-Bissau, the closure of UNOPDIS on 31 December, after 20 years of UN field mission presence in the country, marked an auspicious moment for Bissau Guineans to come together and agree on a new constitution that is more adapted to the country's specificities, breaking the cycle of political upheavals, violence, and complex governance challenges.
If the challenges remain numerous in the West African region, UNOWAS does not lose hope. Its representative stated the effort made with the G5 Sahel force will be strengthened, as well as initiatives to protect citizens.
Also in the news, in Uganda, Facebook is closing the accounts of several politicians accused of disrupting public debate. The country is in the final days of the turbulent election campaign. The social media denies any involvement. In Guinea, the activist Oumar Silla, better known as Fonike Mengue, has finally appeared this Monday before the Mafonko court in Conakry after his hunger strike, a subject of the editorial stuff. The militant Fonike Mengue, head of the National Front of the Defense of the Constitution, was arrested on September 29 for illegal gathering. The charges and the procedure were rejected by the defense. Oumar Silla does not give up, and he intends to continue his fight against Alpha Conde's third term. The head of FNDC had already been the subject of legal proceedings in April 2020. He was arrested at his home for disclosing false news. His trial in last August was dismissed. His lawyers pleaded for his acquittal and immediate release. For now, the Guinean activist has returned to detention where he will spend the next few days before the ruling planned on January 14. COVID-19, the Zimbabwean government has reinstated lockdown, so thousands of people have fled to South Africa, which is facing a very worrying variant of the virus. As a result, South Africa is closing its borders. Ashley Duprat.
Already plagued by a virulent variant of COVID-19, South Africa is once again tightening the screws on its pandemic control measures. It is in this sense that President Ramaphosa addressed the nation on Monday.
To reduce congestion and the high risk of transmission, Cabinet has decided that the 20 land ports of entry that are currently open will be closed until the 15th of February for general entry and departure.
Beitbridge, one of the country's most important border crossings, was notably assaulted last weekend by Zimbabweans fleeing the lockdown recently decreed in their country following an increase in contamination. It is therefore to avoid congestion that the South African government implemented this closure. Exception will be made, however, notably for convoys of goods and people traveling for medical or study-related reasons. President Ramaphosa also took advantage of this address to the nation to unveil the broad outlines of the vaccination strategy, which is eagerly awaited in the country.
In phase 1, with the first batch of vaccines, we will prioritize around 1.2 million frontline health workers. In phase 2, when more vaccines arrive, we will prioritize essential workers. We will also prioritize people in institutions such as old age homes, shelters, prisons, people over 60 years of age, and adults with comorbidities. In phase 3, with increased supplies of these vaccines, we will then vaccinate the remaining adult population of approximately 22 million people.
At the end of December, the South African government has decided to return to partial lockdown, as well as to reintroduce the ban on the sale of alcohol, the compulsory wearing of masks, but also night curfew. These measures have been extended until further notice.
Malawi is in mourning today and loses 2 of these ministers as a result of COVID-19. The Minister of Local Government, Lixon Belikanyama, was a member of the Presidential Task Force Committee on COVID-19. Minister of Transport and Public Works, Sidik Mia, has also lost his life this morning at the age of 56. Thank you for watching us. The information continues on Barrios TV.
TV, l'échange de l'Afrique avec le monde.